You're listening to Party Nerds Weekly.
What's going on, everybody? This is James Grandmaster Facts Voice, and welcome to a segment of Party Nerds News. My name is, of course, James Grandmaster Facts Voice, and this is Jorge Vergara.
What's up?
And we are here to talk about the news that have happened this week. And then, of course, in the course of 3 days, two big news cycle things have happened in the MCU, aside from Wolverine and Deadpool, which we have alluded on in the past podcast recently. One of the biggest news that basically came out is that Blade and this script that is pretty much have gone out there, it's a period piece. It's not a period piece. It's going to basically track vampires as they started to assimilate in the early 1900s. And it turned out that basically Mahershala Ali was very frustrated in the project, very frustrated in the script, to the point where the director quit the project. He's going to stay on as executive producer, but he's quitting the project.
Wow. So wait, was it Mashali? Was he difficult to work with, or he was just not happy with the direction it was going?
He was frustrated with the process, and he was not happy with the direction that the film was going into. And the thing is, this is the portion of going into phase 4 and the phase 5 that people, of course, had alluded to. The last time that we heard of, well, we didn't even hear of Blade because we didn't see him physically. We heard of his voice at the end of Eternals in the post-credit scene when the Ebony Blade got revealed. Okay. So Kit Harington's was a Dane Whitman's character, which is going to be the Black Knight, is touching the Ebony Blade, and pretty much you hear Blade's voice is like, "You sure you want to do that, Mr. Whitman?" Like that type of deal. I hope with the new direction, and the thing is, they found a new scriptwriter pretty quickly. If I was to really look at it as
so he can't. All right. So I tell me, fill me in on how this stuff works. So the new scriptwriter can't use the script that the previous director used. How does that go?
Yeah, they scrapped it all together. So
Why?
Whatever. But that's the thing. Was it good?
Oh.
Yeah. So it's necessarily what we found out is that pretty much the original scribes that were putting that together. I think was it the original one was Stacey Ama Osea Kufor, who joined production in 2021, and they talked about doing a period piece, which was going to have time jumps that were going to happen over the course of maybe around 4 to 5 decades.
Okay.
So when that got thrown out and the director then leaves, Bo DiMeo, which is basically, he just did almost a head writer for X-Men 97, which is pretty much about to come out. That's and right. He also did episodes of Moon Knight, which was episodes 3, 4, and 5. He's also the head writer for X-Men 97, which is about to drop. And of course, Feige being a person that's being I think the way that this man works is you know what? If you ain't got it, get the fuck out of here. I'll get somebody else.
He probably had someone on deck from the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. I think he has a ton of people on deck that are just ready to go, because one thing about the MCU is that they always choose these young directors, these young writers. So imagine how hungry these guys are. They probably already have scripts ready to go and segments already written. They probably pitched everything to Feige already, and then pretty much out of nowhere, you're looking at it from the segment of being okay, if you can't do it, I've already listened to 5 more pitches.
Okay.
And I can get this next guy in here. That's no problem. Oh, I'm sorry. The director that is leaving Blade is Bassam Tariq.
Where do we know him from?
He was a Sundance-funded documentarist. He did These Birds Walk, and he was named Filmmakers 25 New Faces of Independent Film.
That's what I would guess. He was trying to make Blade an indie piece, showing at the Cannes Film Festival.
The last movie that he did was Mogul Mowgli. So he did it. So yeah, he's been doing all these independent pieces. Now you give him a major IP. He's probably stressing this dude the fuck out. He was probably used because he was an independent film director doing everything pretty much in the whim of the way he wanted to construct it. Now you got to do like Feige, that is
departments of everything.
Yeah, he's like, no. This guy, you work with all 100 of these people. You have them at your whim, and if not, you have the answer to me.
That's right. Oh, well, that's how it goes, right? That's how we make good movies.
Exactly. Second, of course, we want to talk about the guy over here to your far right. So it turns out that Armor Wars is now scrapped as a Disney Plus show, but yet it is now going to be a cinematic film.
I really have very low expectations of this now.
Absence of a series to a 2-hour movie.
Special effects for a series was likely too expensive, and just to cram into a big budget movie and hope sells to cover the cost. And also, like, a TV show would longer and allow more development of the story. So that probably means that they were running short of ideas.
That too. Or better yet, maybe there might be the possibility that the filler episodes that they wanted to describe in the show weren't really fitting, and they couldn't even describe what they wanted to do with it. So they figured a character like War Machine as opposed to an Iron Man character, because it is a prototype of an Iron Man suit.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted more action in the show. And how do you utilize more action than just pushing it cinematically?
But the thing is, it better not be no Iron Man 4 ripoff, bro. I'll be livid, And the fact that, it's War Machine, I'm expecting to see more military tech / Top Gun-ish kind of side of
I would think so, because Rhodey, of course, still, well, I hope he still does.
Still in the Air Force.
Works for the government.
Exactly.
So the thing is, there was always that speculation. I think it was in Iron Man 2 that they wanted to utilize the Iron Man suits as a military function for the United States. And Rhodey, being that catalyst, was the one not necessarily like pitching it, but always being the one to be like, look, Tony does his own thing. I work with him. That's pretty much it. We're not trying to and that's when they started making their suits of their own, and they started to remember the Iron Man 2 when they were back to back, and they were going at it with all the prototypes.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm guessing I want to see more of the military side. That's I'm excited for.
Right. And then also in the same breath, you're talking about the introduction of Ironheart that's going to happen in Wakanda Forever. I'm not sure if they want to utilize Rhodey as a person that is offering tutelage to Ironheart. Now, Ironheart, of course, grows up idolizing Tony Stark, building her own Mach 1 in an MIT contest, to the point where she's starting to utilize it and discover the functions of it for her own. And then now we have like a character like Rhodey who can serve as somewhat of a mentor in that sense.
But don't you think that this major change is because of the setback on the Blade studio?
It could be, because the thing is, this Armor War news came out at the same time, like literally the same time as the Blade news. So it's like, is it Feige just basically like pushing out news to kind of like cover up the last bit of news that was pretty much not necessarily a failure, but a conflict that was happening within his own studios?
Maybe in the beginning they were just going to use Rhodey's show as a filler, but now I guess he's on the main stage now. Now this has to be
because the one thing that we're looking at is that because of all these Disney Plus shows, there's characters out there that we have yet to catch up with. If we're talking about early 2021, we had WandaVision, and the white prototype of Vision that everybody's seen basically disappeared from view. Wanda's already been in a brand new movie. Spectra, Monica Rambeau, is going to be in the Marvels, so we're catching up with all those characters. Agatha Harkness is going to have her own show. But what happened to White Vision? Because all of a sudden he caused all this destruction at the end of the series and then just disappeared from view. Well, turns out, if you've read the comics, of course, with like West Coast Avengers or the Armor Wars comics, the white prototype of Vision, the newest, I guess, if you want to call it, incarnation of Vision, does tend to link up with Rhodey.
They better get it right, man, because my bar is low.
Yeah, well, you know what? With the Wolverine Deadpool news, it's kind of like now we're throwing a wild card out there.
Exactly.
And how is all this shit going to fit going forth? Because you have a big bad, but the big bad, Kang the Conqueror, is somewhat of a highly intelligent cosmic. Now, I'm not going to call him an entity, but a cosmic being. that can basically loop himself into any type of time frame that you want. But yet now with the release of Deadpool, Wolverine, Blade, and now basically this Armor Wars detail that's coming out, it's kind of like you have a lot of street characters. You don't have anybody with these OP power sets or anything like that that's being introduced that's going to utilize a way to take this shit out. Like Doctor Strange is still like your only fit of defense.
Yeah, not even. He won't last seconds.
Yeah. So who you got on your side? Like Thor is funny as shit now.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought Thor would be serious, you know, because the comics he was kind of serious, right?
Yeah, comics, he's extremely serious.
Now
Matter of fact, he's fucking badass.
He's doing rom-coms and he's doing buddy, you know, cop things. I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah. Well, another good thing is that the Hulk is flying back to Sakaar, so who knows what that's going to detail.
Exactly.
So the one thing I can say as far as a little tidbit of news is that the Universal contracts for the Hulk end in 2023. So does that give us the leadway to now have Hulk solo movies starting in type of either script writing or production, pre-production as of next year?
Can this be an intro soon for Red Hulk?
You know what? That was also a little bit of news because you know who they think can replace William Hurt as far as the casting of Thunderbolt Ross for Red Hulk? Harrison Ford.
No way.
Yeah. I was like, of all people,
right?
I was like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford's got to be late 70s, almost early 80s.
Exactly.
Like he's not signing up for no fucking 4 movie thing with Marvel. There's no way.
Thank God for CGI, man.
Oh my God. Yeah. They'll be CGI in his ass all goddamn day.
All he got to do is be in his house, in his villa, with the phone recorder and just you know, doing his voices, doing
that's
his
it.
lines. That's
he's
it.
Gonna be he's gonna be James Earl Jones doing Darth Vader, and he just stopped doing Darth Vader's voice. Like he's in his 90s. He's like they're changing it to an AI voice.
Oh, so they're using his voice and then putting the AI
computer generating it. Yeah, because you can't duplicate that voice. Who sounds like James Earl Jones?
Yeah, they can make him sound younger, older, this and that.
All that,
bro. That's gonna be the future, man. That's gonna be the future.
All the money from that voice is going to his private estate.
And Robert De Niro is gonna be living forever too, man. I'm sure he's gonna be CGI'd.
Oh, for sure. He's a force ghost. He's a force ghost in the MCU right now.
Yeah. That's
horrible.
Right. And using de-agers, everything. So.
Oh man, yeah, the opportunities are imagineless. Like it's you can do whatever you want now, as far as movie making.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's the last little bit of Party Nerds news. I thank everybody for joining us. Jorge Vergara, for James Grandmaster Facts voice. We are out.